What did your parents say to you as a kid that still affects you today? My dad had me when he was barely 16. My mom? She took off when I was 2 months old. Left a note saying she wasn't ready to be a mother, and that was it. Dad got kicked out of his house for bringing shame to the family, dropped out of high school, worked 3 jobs just to keep us afloat. I still remember the day in 3rd grade when we had to bring our dads to Bring Your Father to Work Day. Other kids' dads showed up in suits, talking about their offices and fancy jobs. My dad came straight from his shift at the auto shop, still in his greasy coveralls, hands stained black with motor oil. Tommy's dad was some hotshot lawyer. He took one look at my dad and loud enough for everyone to hear said, "Well, I guess someone has to fix our cars, right?" The other dads chuckled. My dad's face went red, but he just smiled and nodded. That night I asked him why he didn't wear a suit like the other dads. He sat on my bed, still smelling like WD-40, and said, "Son, these hands might be dirty, but they're honest hands, and honest work built everything you see around you." By middle school I was getting straight A's, but kids started noticing things, like how my dad picked me up in a beat-up truck while their parents drove BMWs, how my clothes came from Walmart while theirs came from the mall, how I qualified for free lunch. Then Jake Morrison happened. His dad owned half the businesses in town, and Jake made sure everyone knew it. He cornered me after math class with his crew around him. "Hey, poverty boy, heard your dad never even graduated high school." My dad says teenage fathers are just losers who couldn't keep it in their pants. They were right about the graduation part. Dad had been 2 months from finishing when I was born. The whispers started following me everywhere. "White trash," they'd say just loud enough for me to hear. I started acting out, getting in fights, my grades slipping. When the school called, Dad had to leave work early. I expected him to be furious. Instead, he picked me up in silence. We drove to this hill overlooking our town, and he turned off the engine. "What's going on, buddy?" he asked, his voice tired but patient. "Those kids at school," I finally said. "They say you're a failure, that I'm just trailer trash like you." Dad was quiet for the longest time. Then he pointed down at the town below us. "You see that school you go to? I helped build the addition when you were 5. Half the houses in this town, I've fixed their plumbing, their electrical, their roofs." His voice got stronger. "Those kids' dads, they sit in air-conditioned offices all day. But when their power goes out, when their cars break down, when their toilets overflow, who do they call? They call guys like me. Because while they were in college learning to shuffle papers, I was learning to fix the world." He turned to look at me. "Don't you ever let anyone make you ashamed of honest work, and don't you ever think for 1 second that you're not just as good as any of them." The next morning, Dad did something that still gives me chills. He came to school with me. Not in his work clothes this time, but in his only good shirt and tie. He walked straight to the principal's office. "I hear there's been some issues with bullying involving my son," he said to the principal. Our principal looked uncomfortable. "Well, boys will be boys. Sometimes kids from different backgrounds." "Stop right there," Dad interrupted. "Different backgrounds? My son has the same right to respect as any other kid in this school, regardless of what his father does for a living." Then my dad requested a meeting with Jake Morrison's parents. Dad didn't raise his voice once, but I could see Mr. Morrison getting more and more uncomfortable. Later, I found out what Dad had said. He'd mentioned how Mr. Morrison's company had tried to stiff him on payment for work done on their office building, and how Dad had liens filed against them that were still on public record. By the end of the meeting, Mr. Morrison was sweating through his expensive suit. Jake was forced to apologize, but more importantly, his parents looked mortified. As they left, Mrs. Morrison actually stopped to shake my dad's hand and mumble something about teaching Jake respect. Walking out of that school, Dad said something that changed my life. "Never let anyone make you feel small, son. The size of a man isn't measured by his bank account, his diploma, or who raised him. It's measured by his character and how he treats others."